Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Mathis, welcome to this committee. I ask the following two questions of every nominee before any of the committees on which I sit. So I will ask you these two preliminary questions. Since you became a legal adult, have you ever made unwanted requests for sexual favors or committed any verbal or physical harassment or assault of a sexual nature?
No, Senator.
Have you ever faced discipline or entered into a settlement related to this kind of conduct?
No, Senator.
Mr. Mathis, I think it is very important for all of our courts to have judges who have lifetime appointments, who bring a lot of different life experiences to the bench. And you are the first member of your family to attend college, and you have been very candid about growing up in poverty. So can you tell us a little bit about growing up, just how I assume that your experience growing up in poverty maybe has something to do with your wanting to become a lawyer. Can you tell us a little bit about what made you decide that you're going to go to law school and practice law?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. That did have a lot to growing up in the neighborhood that I grew up in, not being exposed to lawyers, doctors, and things of that nature. That did have a lot to do with my desire to want to grow up and be a lawyer. And my goal was to be in the profession where I could reach down and help others. And I think being in the legal profession is a great way to do that. So that's always been my goal, to put myself in the position where I can help others. And that's one of the reasons that I take some of the cases that I've taken, as far as taking court-appointed cases when individuals can't afford to retain a lawyer. I feel that's an avenue where I can step in and help those individuals out.
Can you tell us a little bit about at least one pro bono work that you did that particularly affected you personally, professionally, perhaps in how you think about the work that you do?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. The case that sticks out to me is a case in which a gentleman was charged with first-degree murder for, unfortunately, killing his mother. And he suffered from certain intellectual disabilities and paranoid schizophrenia, which caused the incident. And the issue for me is it seemed that individual did not need to be in jail and should have been in a place that where he needs to be treated. And so that litigation lasted 7 years, and the goal was for him to be found incompetent so that he could be treated rather than being in jail. And I was happy to litigate that case pro bono for 7 years, and ultimately he was found incompetent to stand trial, and he's currently in the treatment facility being treated for his issues.
So in a case like that, which took 7 years of your life to do, does it say anything to you about our criminal justice system and how it treats defendants with that kind of background?
Well, thank you, Senator, for that question. The Constitution provides certain rights for criminal defendants, and it's good for everyone to ensure that those rights are upheld, from the judge to the prosecutors to defense attorneys. That was a difficult case, and it was a case that I understood why it lasted 7 years. The individual had been charged with a serious crime, and we needed to ensure that it was the mental issue that led that was the reason for it, and so there was a lot of testing going on. But I've practiced in criminal cases in federal and state courts, and the judges that I've been in front of have been great judges.
During that period, was the defendant incarcerated?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. For part of the time, he was incarcerated. I don't remember the exact period of time, but maybe the first year or so, he was actually in jail. For the remaining time, he was at a treatment facility where he was being treated for his illnesses.
Well, I'm running out of time, but thank you for all the pro bono work, particularly with the work that you do with indigent clients. I'm glad that you were asked the question about the statement you made about unions may not be such a good thing, because unions do represent the working people, and I have a little bit of background in that area myself, and I have a very different view of the importance of unions. But I'm glad you had a chance to explain that you were pretty much articulating the position of your employer clients. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Hirono. Before I recognize Senator Kennedy, for those who weren't present at the beginning,